Good evening, everyone, and thank you again for being here on Tuesday night. As I always say, I love our Tuesday nights because they're so power packed with great information, not just presentations, but we want to always bring you guys something that you can learn from and you can take away from our Zooms and go out and implement it. And we want you to hear the stories tonight. We have powerful stories. And before we actually go into our Miss Terry, we're going to share some testimonials first because, guys, Vericel is truly changing everything. I have not been this excited, and I'll say this over and over and over again. I was so excited about Fix, but we had to create the stories. We created the science. But when we got Vericel, all of it was already done for us. We don't have to do all the work, the hard work behind the scenes because it's already been done for us. And the lives that are changing already makes me cry almost every day. And I know that you guys feel the same way because as the stories keep coming in, guys, there's nothing any more powerful to hear a story of someone's life changing. And that is why we do what we do. As you hear me say often, this is a platform where we can be servant leaders and be what God wants us to be if we do it right. And He wants us to serve people. And this is the tools, the products, the leadership that we can go into all over the world and make a difference. And that makes me so happy. So, first, I'm going to go to Lisa Hughes out of Sarasota, Florida. Lisa, I know you've had tremendous success. And if you would just share with everybody what's happening in your house.
Amen. Thank you so much for inviting me to the call, first of all. So I wanted to say first about Fix that I am a breast cancer survivor since 2014, so 12 years. And prior to cancer, I never had anxiety. After cancer, going through chemo, radiation, all the things I went through, I got major anxiety to the point where, and COVID obviously gave me anxiety. So I got to where I wouldn't drive on the highway. I would drive real short distances. I certainly wouldn't get on an airplane. I wouldn't go to events. Um, wouldn't be around people, bottom line. So I was lucky enough to get on Fix right after the launch. And truly, truly, I mean, we all know you can sleep better and those kind of things. But for me, that's what changed. I literally was able to get back on the highway and drive. Now I go all over Sarasota. I drive my grandchildren around to all their events. I was able to go to two of our conferences with MPG on the airplane by myself and get in an Uber, which I'd never done before. And it all sounds like little things, but for me, it was big things because I couldn't do it before. I couldn't do the airplane or the highway. Now, though, I'm super excited about Fix, and I've been on it for over a year now, right at a year, I guess. So, but what I really want to tell you about is I'm a full-time caregiver. I'm also a widow previously, but I'm a full-time caregiver for my ex-husband. I know that sounds strange, but he's the father of my son. And so he came down here 6, 7 years ago from a very large heart attack, paralyzation, his left hand, all kinds of things. He came from St. Louis. He's a veteran, and I brought him down here. So I've been taking care of him for 7 years. So when I heard about Vericel, when it started talking, all the talking, I got to listen to the first, this one guy that spoke, early on in the pre-launch about his heart. So when I heard about the things that he said, I asked to get the Vericel. I was signed up for St. Joseph, so I got the Vericel early. So I got Larry on the Vericel. Now here he's a diabetic, uh, type 2 diabetic. He has had multiple heart surgeries, including quadruple. 2 years ago, we both ended up in the hospital with COVID again. When that happened, his ejection fraction, which was 50%, which is normal, went to 25% when he came out of the hospital. So we were suffering with a 25% ejection fraction and, all kinds of things basically. So we get Vericel. Meanwhile, we had been on it 3 weeks and 3 days, and we had a heart doctor appointment. So I went to the heart doctor to check up, get everything checked up. And and I knew about the echo. The echo has been 25% for 2 years, right? So I told the doctor, I said, I'm on this new product for him, or we're on this new product. And he goes, well, the echo, the EKG was fine. But he's like, well, why don't we just put off the echo for 2 or 3 months, and wait and see, what your product does, blah, blah, blah. And he said, because it's probably just going to be 25%, right? He's expecting it to stay the same. So anyway, meanwhile, that was our appointment. This was just a few weeks ago. Then just after that, a week or so later, 2 weeks later, actually, we were driving down the road. Larry started having chest pains. We ended up back in the hospital for that, right? And that was just a tweak that needed to be done with blood pressure medicine. But so we were like in there 24 hours. And so the next day, I knew they were going to do an echo, right? I knew they were going to do an echo. So he was getting discharged. They did the echo that morning, and I begged to get the paperwork. The nurse actually didn't want to give it to me. She's like, I'm not supposed to give it to you, blah, blah, blah. And I said, I need to see the echo. So I got to see the echo, and now his ejection fraction in just that short time, less than 4 weeks, his echo is 35 to 40%. And I am thrilled to death about that because, he's been suffering. I mean, at 25%, you're barely kind of living. So now he's at 35 and 40, and we're just climbing up, with progress. And I'm taking it too. And we are, by the way, saturating. You'll hear more about that, I'm sure, with the girls. So we're doing both, fix in the morning, fix at night. We're saturating with Vericel once in the morning and once at night. And I'm not making any claims, obviously, we know better than that. The disclaimers will go through, I'm sure. But I know what Fix has done for me. I personally know what it's doing for Larry. It's given him some life back and maybe quite a few more years, I think. And I'm sure maybe in 3 months, I'll be able to give you another update. But so far, it is beyond miraculous for our family. So I'm so thankful that you allowed me to share this, Karen. And anyone that maybe has some questions and needs to get back to me on a personal basis, I'd be happy to tell you about our journey with Vericel and with Fix. It's been wonderful. Thank you.
Yes, yes, and thank you. It's like when you hear the stories, and I've known Lisa and Larry for a long time, so to hear these stories is just heart touching. It will definitely make you cry. So thank you, Lisa, for sharing that. God's good. Let's go to Oklahoma now, to my very dear friend that I've known for a very long time. Miss Misty Bracken, if you would come on and unmute yourself and share what's already happened with you. I thank you so much. You and your sister have been such a blessing to all of us. And I just am honored that you guys take your time out to share with so many of us in the company, not just the team, but everybody. And God will bless y'all for that, I know. So thank you so much. Take it away, girlfriend.
Oh, thank you, Karen, so much. We just love everything about this company. We love being here. And again, thank you for giving us this opportunity to share because, we did wait 20 years. So we're ready. But that was amazing testimony that Lisa just gave. I mean, that incredible. And those are the kind of things that we heard. But the difference between 20 years ago and today is that testimony would have taken longer and probably, I don't know what their amount that they're taking, but probably more product than what they're taking because this one is so much stronger. And so that's what Nikki and I have noticed is that so many things are happening so much quicker and with less product. So that's fantastic. That's fantastic. Just expect great things, Lisa, because it's just going to keep getting better. And so far for me, I've told, I know I've said this before on one of our calls that we've done. I don't remember if it was one of the lives that we did, if it was, I don't think it's been on a Tuesday night, but 20 years ago when we had the product, I mean, I have said before, I had the I do have the MTHFR gene mutation and a few others too that really make some of my pathways really not work very well. And one that really has affected my life is that I just don't produce energy the way that the pathway is pretty broken. And so all my life have struggled. And I did not know 20 years ago when I was in my 30s that was my problem. And, but I did know that when I took the product, I didn't have any issues. I had tons of energy. All the symptoms, and a lot of them come with these gene mutations, went away. And I had IBS back then, that went away. So all of that, was improved so much with the first product. So then you go 20 years without it. Well, that stuff starts to come back. And on top of that, on top of the fatigue and all the symptoms that you deal with those gene mutations, both my husband and I both, one in 2020, January 2021 and January 2022, we both got COVID. And we did okay with that. I didn't do so great. I had to go to the hospital because I just couldn't breathe. But once they helped me breathe, I was okay. But afterwards, the thing that did to both of us, which is really strange that it happened to both of us, the very same thing. But that virus destroyed the lining of both my husband and I of our guts. I like the gut lining was destroyed. And so for the first time, we're dealing with this leaky gut problem. And it was severe after having the two bouts with that virus. And we had a little bit different symptoms, but both of them were torturous. His symptoms, he would wake up and he thought it was a CPAP for a long time. He cleaned the heck out of that thing, and then he moved to a mouthpiece, and it was still doing it. So it took us a while to figure out what it was, but it was coming from our guts. These symptoms were, and what it was is that he would wake up and he would just be sneezing, and it would he was having the worst allergy attack that he's ever had. And but we found out, we had all the allergy testing. He wasn't allergic to anything. It was coming from the lining of the gut. So what happens when the lining is destroyed? There's just one little membrane between the gut lining and your immune cells. Like it's either the T cell, but your immune system's right there. So when something passes through, immediately it hits the immune system and it mounts a response, which is histamine. And so the immune system starts making, it's overactive. It starts overly making histamine. And so that histamine has to go somewhere. So for him, he was sneezing. His eyes would be so red. I mean, it was torture. He all day long. And it's coming from our gut. So you could take some antihistamines and maybe get a few hours relief, but we just could not find relief. For me, that histamine would erupt on my skin, and it feels like that creepy crawly, like you've got allergy to grass, or oh, my nose is just itching to. This was 24/7. For I can't say every 24/7 for all 4 or 5 years, but pretty close. And so I would just be sitting here and I'd be like this, or I'd be like this, or like this. And I got to where I wouldn't even say anything to anybody because, I mean, why? I just endured it. And it was torture. And 4 weeks having our product back, his was the glyconutrients, his was completely, he has not taken an allergy pill. Now it's been like 6 or 7 weeks that he has not even had to take one allergy pill. And I am no longer doing you guys don't even know what a relief it is. And we just needed the sugars and all that comes with that to heal the gut lining and to heal what that did to us. And that has been, oh my gosh, that has been a relief for both of us. So I'm thanking God for that.
You're muted, Karen.
I can't imagine going through that nonstop for that many years. But as you all said, this is giving us what our body needs and communicating cell to cell. So thank you for sharing that. I know so many people struggle with after effects of that pandemic, as you call it.
Pandemic, yeah.
And so I thank you for sharing that. And I'm so happy for you and your husband. Let's go to Miss Nikki now. And Nikki, I know you've already seen dramatic results, and thank you for being on, and thank you for being the best sourdough maker in town. Okay.
Oh, well, you better try it first. But okay, hi everybody. I am Misty, or I'm Nikki. I'm Misty's sister. And one thing, Misty, did you talk about not being how you're sleeping better too?
That's fixed is helping that. Yes,
Okay, yeah.
very much
Because,
so.
right. I can testify, to everything she just said. She literally, and Cole, her husband, he would take the allergy medicine, but then he would be so lethargic, right? For like
Yes.
24 hours or so. And then it would, 2 or 3 days, it'd come back and he'd have to take it again. So it was a vicious cycle. We're so happy with the results on that. My story is a little bit different. About, I'm going to say November, but I didn't know it was November. I started feeling just not the best, and I function at a high level. I'm go, go, go. And then December came around, and I really was like, golly, I'm not feeling the best, but I didn't say anything to anybody. But I am telling you, January, it hit me like a ton of bricks. And my family can testify. I would tell Misty, I was like, I feel like they put melatonin in 2026 or something because I am having a hard time putting my leg in front of each other, one foot in front of the other. It was about beginning of February. I just was praying about it. I'm like, I'm getting my blood done. I'm going to see what is going on, which I do that every 6 months. And I had just slowly declined to the point where I was not, I would stay literally, I would go to sleep at 9 o'clock at night. I would sleep till 9 o'clock the next day and then have to have the slowest morning getting going. I'm like, what is going on? And it turns out that I had been using a supplement for the 8 months before, not knowing that I was slowly getting copper toxic. And Misty's the one who actually helped me realize, she was like, you might be copper toxic. And so I started looking at, and, I was working with my doctor too, but listen to some of these symptoms. And I had every one of them: complete and utter exhaustion, lack of any joy or motivation, um, reduced desire to engage in normal activities, heavy head situation. I said, I feel like I can't lift my head up off of the pillow. Whole body heaviness, like I said, I feel like I had to lift one leg after the other, and emotional flatness, indifference. It's like I was just like, I don't care about life. What is going on? And then you guys have heard the story. Now I started working with my doctor, and he says it's going to be a long detox. We got to get this copper out of your system, take some vitamin C and some few things. But you've heard us tell a story when we drove down to meet with Sam and Linda Castor, and Misty had one of those bags that Karen had FedExed her, and she gave me like maybe a half a bag, right? And I'm like, okay, I'm going to start on it. I'm going to start on it. So I start with one scoop because I'm a rule follower, and I'm going to do one scoop and work myself up. I started to notice pretty soon, within 4 or 5 days, that I was waking up on my own earlier than normal, right? And this was probably about 10 weeks ago, I'm going to say. Since I actually got to start the product. We didn't start Fix until after that. I'm up to 2 scoops in the morning, one in the afternoon, getting saturated. But I can tell you, over the last 3 weeks, I have done a complete turnaround in far as I'm saying energy, um, mental clarity, feeling. I do not feel like my head is swimming anymore. Literally, if anybody out there has ever had like a heavy head, you know what you're feeling like when you just feel like your head is swimming and things aren't firing as well. And I am attributing it because they said it was going to take me, 3 to 6 months to get a full detox. And I am back on track, feeling better than ever. And another thing that I notice is I had this spot in my back that I could patch it. I would get relief. I would feel better. But I woke up yesterday and I had not remembered to put my, whatever I put back there, my patch. I would put it on every day. I hadn't worn it in 4 days because I've had my granddaughters, and I don't have that spot in my back. So I'm thinking like some inflammation and some chronic issues in my back is getting better too. But that's just a different testimony, but I'm telling you, I'm going to give it all the credit because I was not feeling good, and I am back to completely feeling actually better than I did before.
Amazing. Thank y'all so much. Nikki, that is so incredible because it's just been such a short amount of time to see those kind of results. So thank you so much for sharing, Misty. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you. So, Miss Candace, do you want to do the disclaimer real quick before we go to Miss Terry?
Certainly. Thank you. Thank you. And this is just a reminder, everyone, that this information tonight is, and any statements that were made and shared here are not designed to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any illness or disease. Individual results will vary because everybody's body is different.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And you know what, guys? I'll just say this. When you put good, sound nutrition in your body's going to respond in a positive way. And so we can go build our business with true confidence, knowing what we have. And I said, that's what makes us so different. The confidence that we have at building a business here is bar none, the best I've ever done. And I've been in the industry almost 40 years. And I've never been this confident because we have all the proof. We have the stories. We have the company. We have all the things that we need in order to make this work for everybody. So, guys, I want to bring on tonight an amazing woman. I've got to know her pretty well, and she just inspires everybody all the time. And Terry, first of all, let me say, Janet, Kylie, thank you too for bringing this dynamic woman to our company because she is a blessing to so many, and so are you guys. So let's give everybody give Miss Terry a hand and Janet and Kylie for doing the work. So Terry, I understand that you're one taprooter that gets in there and starts digging. And first of all, congratulations for hitting diamond. And it looks like you're probably going to hit double diamond in a minute if you're not careful. And your team is absolutely soaring. So thank you for being on here. And if you would just share with everybody what you did, how you're doing it, and how you're making everything work. And I love how you stay focused on helping the people that want to move to a higher level. You pour into them, and that's so important for everybody to have the growth that they're looking for. So thank you for being here.
Oh my gosh, Karen, thank you. Thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for having me here. I just have to give it back to Karen real quick because she and I have gotten to know each other very, very well. And I've come to just love your heart and how you pour into people and how you provide this training and you just give so much completely throughout the whole company. And I just want everybody right now, because Karen wouldn't say this, and I'm just going to say it real quick. Karen and I have gotten to know each other very well because I'm 4 weeks ahead of her on a total knee replacement. And we've been comparing notes and talking a lot. And I just want to say, because I know the journey and it takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of energy to heal from this. And Karen continues to show up, pour into people's lives, and give beyond anything I've ever seen. So everybody, please just give her a bunch of love. And thank you, Karen, so much for having me here tonight. So just love you. So I'm going to jump into this really, really quick and get through this. Many of you may have heard of taprooting. Perhaps you haven't. But just a little bit about me real fast. I am a nurse of 43 years. I just retired my license last month from direct patient care. I haven't done it for a few years. And what I love is I'm finally getting to do what I wanted to do when I grow up. So I just want to encourage everybody out there. It's never too late. Yes, I'm in the late 60 mark. Okay. I'm just going to say it. And so it's never too late. I became a nurse to make my mom happy. I always had an entrepreneurial spirit within me. So I've been in the industry since 1992 off and on, but I became very, very passionate about wellness and natural wellness because of what I'd seen, the change from when I was a brand new nurse until up to even to when I retired. But especially just starting 15 years ago, I was like, there has to be something better. There has to be another alternative. And yes, time and place for pharmaceuticals. I was an ER trauma nurse. I know that, but it was like something else needs to happen. So I started doing my studying and getting involved in the industry, in the wellness industry about 15 years ago. And along the way, I got to work with one of the queens in the industry on taprooting. And boy, when I learned how to taproot, it changed everything in my business. Now, first of all, I'm going to share with you, I am not perfect. I don't do this every time perfectly, but what I learned is you go and you do it messy. You get started, you do it for the first time if you've never done this, and you learn as you go and you grow as you go. So I'm just going to kind of give that little caveat at the beginning. But what I'm going to say is when I did do this, everything changed in my business. Momentum changed, belief changed. My organization started to come alive in a whole new way because here's the truth. The power of what we're building is not just in what you can see, it is in the roots. And so it is in the deep down. And when you learn how to grow your organization, find the ones who are hungry and call them up into leadership. That is when your business explodes. And I am going to use notes if you notice. I will use notes because I don't want to forget a thing tonight. But I'll tell you this also, within everything within me, God didn't just bring you people. He placed leaders throughout your organization You just have to go find them. And today I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. So number one, I'm going to go through 8 different points tonight. We're going to talk about what is taprooting, why taprooting matters. So what is taprooting, why taprooting matters, who are you looking for? So that's number 3. Who are you looking for? Number 4 is how to taproot. So number 1, I'll repeat these so you can write them down. What is taprooting? Why taprooting matters? Who you are looking for? How to taproot? And doing this the right way. I'm not going to say the perfect way, but doing this the right way. What this looks like in real life. Common mistakes and duplication. So let me read through that one more time. What is taprooting? Why taprooting matters? Who are you looking for? How to taproot? Doing this the right way. What this looks like in real life. Common mistakes and duplication. So let's start with what is taprooting. Taprooting is the intentional process of going deep into your organization to identify, develop, and elevate emerging leaders. It's not just about sponsoring people. This is about building depth, because wide organizations look good, but deep organizations last. Now, you might say, but Terry, we're a binary, so we go deep. But when I'm talking wide, I'm talking look at your personals, look at your unilevel for your check match. That's where I'm talking going wide. And it's great to grow wide over time. But if you're only focused on that and you're not focused on building depth into your team, you don't build stability. And wouldn't you prefer to have stability in your team? If you only build your front line, your growth will always feel limited. You're going to feel exhausted. You're going to feel like you're pushing and pushing and pushing, working with the same people. And we all know it. We all experience it, right? We bring somebody new in and they're all excited and we think this is the one and they're going to run, and maybe they go a ways and do some things. Maybe they do take off, but maybe they ghost you too. Maybe they disappear. We have them all, right? That's part of the business. And so then we start feeling like, okay, I just got to get on the hamster wheel. I just got to work harder. I just got to do more. And this is something that will revitalize you and it'll revitalize your team. So it says here, but when you build depth, that's when you build stability, momentum, and true duplication. So the next thing is why taprooting matters. And this is why it matters so much. I think of the oak tree here in Texas. I live in Central Texas. We have many different varieties of oak trees. There's like over 10 of them or more. And they grow huge and big. And they're these ginormous, just massive. I have one I'm looking at my office window across the street at my neighbor's. It's just this giant tree. But if that tree didn't have deep roots and the wind comes along and it blows, just like I was talking about, if you have people in your business who may or may not do something, the wind blows, well, the tree is going to topple. And we know that other things happen in our business too. Life changes for people. They might leave. Things happen. Somebody finds a shiny object, right? And so we need to be ready for when the wind blows in our business and have our structure be that we're down deep and strong. Otherwise, you become top heavy and everything depends on you and it becomes exhausting. But when you taproot, there's 5 big results. So I'm going to name 5 of them here. One is you create leadership beyond your front line. This is important. So you are going to create leadership beyond your front line. And you build duplication that doesn't rely on you. Isn't that what we really want when we're building something in network marketing? We want people who take off and do well, and it doesn't always rely on you. And yet you can still have that same duplication going on and on all the way down into your team. You increase retention because think about it. If you're building volume down below, everybody that's especially in ours, this is what I love with our binary. As you build down deep, everybody up above that is going to receive the volume and it can wake somebody up. You can just point out to them, did you just see this volume that came into your team? And if you go to work, this is what you could do. You just need to go do this and you've got this going on. So it can build what we oftentimes call fire in the basement. And fire in the basement is going to bring that volume. It's also going to bring energy, brings energy into the team. So you unlock momentum in places you didn't even expect sometimes, or when you do this, you'll unlock energy. And that energy is that fire, that momentum. And so what I like to say, here's the exciting part, this is number 5, is your next big leader is probably already in your organization. You just haven't found them yet. And a little side note here, because I know I'm talking to some people who probably are going, but Terry, I'm a team of one. I'm only me. How am I going to do this? I want you to still hang in here and listen, because this applies to you from the other side. And if maybe you have 2 or 3 people, it is literally the thing that will help you build a bigger business faster than trying to go sometimes just plowing through trying to find the numbers for yourself. Now, in the beginning, yes, our goal is platinum. Our goal is to get to 12. I don't minimize that. But as you're going, what more excitement can you build with somebody who you just brought into the team than to work with them and they bring somebody in and then you work with that person to bring somebody in? So that is a form of taprooting, building on down and building depth. And so just keep listening. If you're that team of 1 or maybe 2 or 3 and you feel like, does this really apply to me? So number 3, we're going to go through is, who are you looking for? So when you taproot, you're not looking for perfect people. You're looking for hungry people. You want to keep that in mind. You're looking for hungry. And how do you identify somebody who's hungry? You identify them by how they show up at Zoom calls, at events. Do they also show up in your reports that they're getting customers, they're getting ISRs, they're doing the activity? Maybe they're doing it messy and they're not doing, a lot of really great things. Maybe I'll be sharing a story at the end about somebody who I just worked with who had never done network marketing before. So you're not necessarily looking for that person who is a shiny star that just came in from another company and knows everything what to do. You're also looking for that person who maybe is sitting as an island out there by themselves, but they show up consistently and they plug into calls and they're asking questions and they're taking action, even if it's messy. And then you also watch for, are they coachable? And this will become more apparent too as you speak with them. But you can see some things sometimes if they're on a team call, like one of our morning fix calls, and Kylie's telling us to go do something, and you see they show up and do it, they're coachable. They have that desire, they have that hunger, and they take initiative. Because activity reveals seriousness, not words, not titles, not previous histories, not potential. You want to see somebody who has activity going on. And so then the next thing I want to talk about is how to taproot. And this changes everything in the how to. So first, one of the best things you can do is you can just ask leadership, ask your front line, ask those who may be down a ways in your organization. Who do you see that's come in that is stepping up? Now, I'm also going to say, when I've taprooted, a lot of the times, it wasn't this time specifically, but in the past, where I have taprooted has also been because maybe a leader left, or they weren't even a leader, maybe just the person who rolled somebody left. I had this specific scenario happened to me in my last company where this particular lady brought in like 30, 40, 50 people. She brought in a ton of people. She was an influencer on TikTok and she brought in all these people and then she left. And so I sent an email out to everybody and I kept her edified. I said, hey, she's an amazing lady. I'm so glad she brought you here. Here's who I am. And what would you like to do with your business? Would you like to grow a business? What are your goals? I'd just like to hear from you. And I heard from a few people, and one in particular I ended up running with, and she became a leader and is doing fantastic things. And so you just need to go search. You just need to do a little, you're doing some hunting, shall I say, going out and hunting for that Easter egg that's hidden out there for you. But you want to connect with people who are deeper into your organization. And when you find them, you can vet them. You can ask them about what are their goals? What do they want? And you're not there to try to bring somebody along who doesn't want to do this. This is about the person who is hungry. And then you're going to encourage them. You're going to cast vision for them, and you want to let them feel seen. And I think this is so important because sometimes some people are sitting down there and it's no fault necessarily. Every scenario is different, but they may just have an enroller who isn't as involved, doesn't know how to get them involved, and isn't as involved themselves. That can be one of the scenarios. It might just be that you're going down and you're finding that person that just you see what they're doing, their activity is showing up, and you can't ignore it. So, and when you do this, it's important that you edify their upline. You always want to make sure that you're building strength in the line. You're not building division. This isn't becoming about, oh, it's all about me. Your efforts might be very strong in that person, but you want to be sure that you're building strength into the upline. You're not there to replace leadership. You're there to strengthen it. Now, I will say, I'm going to kind of do a little flip side on this as well. When you're going in and taprooting, if you are the person who has somebody taprooting under you, sometimes it can kind of look a little messy. And I've been on the side of it where somebody's done that, and I might have felt a little like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling out of control here. Well, step back and check your ego a little, because you can communicate to that person. I always say, take the mail to the mailbox. If you're feeling that way, go to them and say, I want to be involved in this. Now, doing it right, we should be able to have communication. And this is where sometimes I break down. I'll be the first one to admit, I come from an ER background. I come in and I can be like a bull in the china closet sometimes, and I can go for something. And I never have an intention to leave somebody out. But then all of a sudden I'm going, oh my gosh, I need to bring them up to speed. So that's one of the places I'm learning and growing too. So just know you're going to have some things that you may bumble along with. Keep going, keep trying, keep doing the best that you can. But just know that your intention should be that you're building leadership and you're edifying the leadership above you. You're not trying to create division. And so that brings me to doing this the right way. These two things have kind of merged together, but taprooting is powerful, but it needs to be done with integrity. You are not trying to split somebody away from somebody else at all. And it is the best thing that you can do is to communicate and to continue to edify the person that is their upline. The next thing is, what does this look like in real life? It looks like jumping on a call and with someone who's 4 levels down, who's ready to run. It looks like helping a new leader launch their new team with a team call. It looks like locking arms with someone who just needs belief. But you're going to go where the fire is already burning. You're not trying to create energy where there is none. You're not trying to have somebody be dependent on you. You want to go where the fire or where the energy exists, and you're going to fuel it. So common mistakes. We're into the last couple things here. The common mistakes, let's keep this real. This is where we can go wrong. Only focusing on our front line and forgetting to look down low into our team, deep into our team, and finding those people who are leaders just sitting there waiting to be found. Missing the quiet leaders. Sometimes we think leadership means loud. Sometimes we think it means being out there in front of everybody all the time. And that's not true. We learned from Mark Cassetta, all the personalities. We need all the personalities in leadership. So don't forget the quiet ones too. And doing too much for the person instead of helping develop them. You don't want to create dependence. You want to develop them into a leader. And overstepping and causing tension. Again, that's back to where I was like communication. And if you're the one feeling the tension, reach out, because it's probably never meant to be that way. And if it is, then there needs to be a corrective course of action. But typically, people are wanting to build, especially here at MPG. Everybody, the way we are structured, everybody benefits from all this volume that gets built from the bottom up. So we are raising leaders. We're not rescuing people. And that brings me to the 8th thing, and then I'll close. Here's where this gets exciting. So when you not only do this for yourself, but you teach your leaders to taproot too, because then it multiplies. And we want multiplication. We want that duplication to go deep. And so then your entire organization is building depth, and that's where exponential growth happens. So I just want to leave this with you. There is more to taprooting. There's some things you can get into. This is Taprooting 101. You can get into some deeper things about how you grow somebody under somebody under somebody. But I just want people to take this first step of doing, finding that person. And I'm going to speak to that in a moment. But first, I'd like to share, I'm going to see where I'm at on my time, Karen. Okay, we're looking pretty good here. I can share my little story. So my most recent taprooting experience happened, just in the last couple months. And so I want to share it because it's a team-wide thing that happened, and I'm so proud of my team. In January, when I had my total knee and I was propped up in a recliner with ice on my knee, other than when I'd get up and exercise a little bit or go to the bathroom, I was really kind of looking at my mental place of where I was at was like, I know that if I could go help somebody, that's going to help me as well and help my team. And so that's kind of how it birthed this time around. And so I noticed that there was somebody who was hungry. I could tell, I could see what was going on. And when I reached out to her, lo and behold, she had never done network marketing before. Now, she came in under Lori. Thank you, Lori, for that heart. She came under Lori Brotherton, who is amazing. And I just connected with Joe. She couldn't be here tonight. They're traveling, but I would have had her on just to share a little bit of what it did meant for her too on that side. But she she was coachable. She was hungry. She wanted this. She's in the wellness space in her own business, but she'd never been in the network marketing space. And so it meant a lot of coaching calls back and forth, and giving her bits and pieces of activities to do. And then when she do those, coming back and getting more and just encouraging her and praising along the way. And so that's really what we did. And so that led me from, at that time, I was a Ruby and my volume just took off. And what I also saw at the same time through March then, or excuse me, January going into February, is I started seeing other little pockets in my team starting to go and recruit as well. So it doesn't have to be spoken. It's like anything in your life, good or bad, the energy will propel more energy. And this was positive energy. And so then come March, I had an amazing thing happen in my team in that Casey did a difficult reach out. And I call it difficult because it was just kind of out of the comfort zone. Like, how is this going to go? But through that, she was able to go get somebody who brought in a team who their company had just closed. At the same time, I was still watching other people in my team doing things as well. And now the person who I had been coaching with or running with, she's starting to do more on her own too. And so I just saw that, and it what it did for me and for my own energy, it lifted me up as well, and our whole team lifted up. And so, I have to give kudos because I went from Ruby to Emerald off of that taprooting, and then it was that team coming in who just busted out and has gone. You've seen our rank, I'm sure, promotions and then everybody around it that were waking up as well in my team. So it was this whole team effort. And then I hit diamond, and we have had all these ranks that have been hitting as well. So I just see how it just exponentially grows. I give God the glory for that call that Casey reached out and made and how that went. But I also know that when we as a team are building up and building energy, it spills over into everything that we're doing. So that's my story. And then in closing, what I want to say is this could be the same for you. So your next leader, your next rank, and your next breakthrough is not out there somewhere necessarily. It's already in your organization. Start there, and then breakthroughs will come too from the outside, believe me. But start inside your team and reach down. Someone is watching you right now, and someone's waiting for a little belief, a little guidance, a moment where you see them. And when you find them, when you tap that root and you start pouring into it, that's when everything shifts. That's when this becomes more than a business. That's when it becomes legacy. So don't leave here just inspired, because nothing happens with just feeling inspired, right? We don't want to just go off and say, oh, that was a great training. That was a great story, Terry. What I want you to do is leave here intentional. I want you to go look deep into your organization. And if you are that person who's sitting there saying, I am one, or maybe I'm one or two or three, reach out to somebody. And if, we're here as a team because we're all different personalities. We all know that. And we learned it so well from Marcus. Again, I'll mention that. So reach out to the person and who maybe you feel like you could really mentor with, and ask them. And if they have time, if they're able to do it, if they're not, ask them who they might recommend. And when you do this, communicate with the person you brought in. I want to remind everybody, we're all 1099 business owners here. This is your business. You need to do what you need to do with integrity and everything else, but you need to do it in a way that helps you grow as well. And I'm not everything for everybody. And I don't want to be everything to everybody. I can't. There's not enough of me, right? And so feel like you can reach out. If you're that person who feels like you need to be seen, you need to be heard, take the steps and go find someone. Because the roots you grow, or excuse me, because the roots you strengthen today will determine how high this grows tomorrow. I want to say that one more time. Because the roots you strengthen today will determine how high this grows tomorrow. And I promise you, what you're looking for, it's already there. Go find it. Hey, everybody, give her a big hand clap. That was incredible. And we have just a couple of minutes, but I want to ask, anybody have a question they want to ask really quick? Because we do have another Zoom that we're going to invite everybody over to, which is catchthewavezoom.com. But I know there's a lot of people who have never taprooted and may have a question. Candace, do you have a question? Let me first ask this. Hang on just a sec. Janet, are you still on?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you want to edify that girl and close us out? Or if you have a question, first of all, I just want to say I'm so proud of you. You always show up. You're Kylie's like right hand. I'm like, how I know what it feels like because I have Kendall and Candace. I need two because I'm scatterbrained. But that was such good training. And a lot of people have never done that. And I know your team does that. And so if you could just kind of come on and just share a little bit with us.
Sure. Well, first and foremost, Terry is an amazing, amazing human. And she is a dear friend of mine. And I have been able to watch her and have a front row seat to this specific journey that she is on right now. And it is so, so fun to watch. But she's very knowledgeable about product, ingredients, all the things, anything that a green personality would love. Terry is your gal. If you need just, a friend to listen, an ear, Terry is your gal. I mean, really, she's just an incredible person and a great leader. And so I always encourage anybody on any team to take a listen to when she is giving some type of a nugget, a golden nugget, to grab a hold of it, because I mean, she's proving herself right now and proving to the rest of us. And I'm just so very proud of her. And I'm grateful that she trusted myself and Kylie along the way. And here we are. So I can't wait to watch what's going to happen, because she's fixing to pop double pretty soon. So fingers crossed it happens in a couple of days.
Yep, it will happen. Uh, Terry, thank you. I know you said, oh, I don't know about that, but I'm going to do it. And you know what? That's what true leaders do. Whether it's not always comfortable, but just stepping up. And like you said, when you find people who want more, to be able to pour into them, identify them, and lift them up and give them the courage to know that they can do that. Because so many people, and I will say this, I probably had 10 calls in the last 3 days. I don't know who my upline really is anymore because I don't ever get any phone calls. It's so important, guys, to taproot because there's so many people that come here and like she said, well, let me just tell you this. I enrolled early before we even got fixed. My enroller left. And by the way, I just hit my $1.2 million mark. And I'm just so grateful. And I think about, I could have left, but I said all along, I said, you know what? I was called here and I'm not even sure why, but I was called here. And so even though they left, I didn't come here for them. I hardly knew them, but I loved who Randy and Kathy was. I loved the stability of a 20, now 24, 5 year old company that he has. But it just, guys, you have to follow your heart. We all have a calling on our life. And if you're called to do something, whether your upline does it or not, you have to pour into what God put inside you. And when you do that, I promise you, you won't fail. I'm sure my enrollers that are not here wish they was getting check match, but guess what? They're not. They're gone. But I just want to encourage you guys. It doesn't matter if your upline is here or if they aren't. Like Terry said, reach up, find somebody to hang on to, find somebody that will pour into you, whether it's your immediate enroller or sideline, crossline, here at Marketplace, I totally feel like it's a family because we all do love each other and we do want to see each other win and we do edify people who do. And I'm just grateful. I'm grateful, Terry, for you. Janet, thank you for bringing this wild woman on with us because she is going to be hitting double diamond. I know it. I'm looking at those numbers going, go, girl, go, girl. Go keep deep tap rooting because it is going to happen. So, with that, guys, go to catchthewavezoom.com in your browser. And tonight it's going to be someone I enrolled that I love dearly, who has an incredible story, Miss Allison Byler. So she is going to be on with Kylie tonight. So Terry, just thank you so much. Thank you so much for pouring into everybody. I have a lot of notes here, and we'll have the recording posted in the 14 page by the end of the night. So thank you all for being here. Good night, everyone.